Rifftrax. Never pick tracks when the riffs are missing. Why you always gotta pick Rifftrax? It's your lucky day, it's time for Rifftrax.
Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to episode 36 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed, where I take 5 Rifftrax shorts in chronological order, review them, and give them a rating between 1 and 5, with the points being good, great, awesome, fantastic, and spectacular, because I don't think a bad Rifftrax short exists. In this group of shorts, we've got a few common threads, those being generic animal footage, cars, and safety. Every single short covers at least one of these topics, so I hope they sound potentially interesting and or funny, because we're going to dive right into episode 36 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed. Number 176, Farm Babies and Their Mothers, from June 15th, 2012.
They eat the grass that grows in the pasture, and like the cow, they chew their cud.
Unlike the cow, they always seem to laugh a little too hard after racist jokes.
As with many of the animal shorts before it, this seems like just some generic footage was taken and turned into an educational short with no story, through line, or much of an overall purpose. In this case, we're told the names of some various animals and what you would call the mothers and babies of each species. Not too much to write home about here.
But let's see if you can name all the mothers and their babies.
All the mothers? Okay, let's see. There's June, Cindy, Margaret. Now, can't forget Susan. There's Rita. And of course, Emily, Victoria, Beth, Laura.
Would you stop naming?
One of the gentlest. The farmer says she is chewing her cud.
I can assure you that the farmer does exist and has given us permission to film on his property.
On this farm, there are 2 different kinds, or breeds, of this animal.
This is where they're
Some are
handing
raised
out
for meat,
shirts.
And some,
Where am
like
I?
these, you know the mother's name, of course. She's a cow.
Of the East Hampton cows.
And a cow's baby is called a calf.
Whoa, give us a second to catch our breath, farm babies.
Animals live on the farm. The farmer keeps these animals for their meat and for their wool.
And sometimes for their
farmer is showing
unholy
us how
meat
thick
wool.
The wool grows. Everybody here is hungry, and Mother knows what they want.
Sadly,
To name
it's
her
human
isn't very
blood.
hard. A newborn pig is called a pigling.
Pigling? Wow, slap in the face to Christopher Robin.
The short continues to plod along with our riffers, thankfully, keeping it interesting, as it surely can't do that by itself. In fact, while watching this, my mind actually wandered for a moment, and I realized that there was once a cameraman who had to just wait around to shoot farm babies drinking straight from their mothers. And then I had to snap myself out of the thought and just how boring it sounds to focus on the riffs again, which, as always, helped me keep a grip on some semblance of reality.
These animals eat the grass that grows in the pasture.
So what do you call a group of horses?
Well, you could say a string, a Harris, or perhaps a remuda.
And what do you call a group of horses if you're not a dick?
It's a little more difficult.
The farmer keeps them for their meat and for the eggs they lay.
Wait, chickens lay meat?
This mother is scratching the ground, trying to uncover some seeds, or a worm or two, for her babies.
The hell I am. I'm trying to tunnel out of here.
These are chickens. Baby chickens are called chicks, and mother chickens are called hens.
Father chickens are called a word you're too young for.
The farmer keeps this animal to catch mice. He also keeps it as a pet.
He won't admit it, but he also enjoys the milk.
See if you can name the animal mothers and their babies. A cow and her calf,
Or an ox and her icks.
a hen and her chicks,
They're groovy, swinging chicks.
a cat and her kittens.
Who apparently are falling down drunk.
The short may be super boring by itself. With the riffs, it's definitely worth a watch, and I give it a 2 out of 5.
Kids learned a lot the day they showed the film of pigs sitting in mud in school.
Number 177, Jimmy of the Safety Patrol, from June 30th, 2012.
On street corners all over the country, safety patrols
Thanks, nerd.
remind
Thanks, nerd.
people
Thanks, nerd. Thanks, nerd.
Thanks, nerd.
to
Get
be
bent, kid.
safe in
Now, I for one see myself as a huge nerd. Don't believe me? Here are some of my reasons. I taught myself to read at only 4 years old. I grew up homeschooled. I skipped the 2nd grade because I'd already learned everything in it. I was a star student at my community college's accounting courses. I just graduated with a bachelor's in business and accounting less than 2 months ago. And I'm obsessed with Rifftrax, Mystery Science Theater, the Muppets, and Disney enough to have a whole YouTube channel talking about all those things. Sounds pretty nerdy to me. But even with all that nerdiness, I am nothing compared to Jimmy of the Safety Patrol. Jimmy's basically a student who's also a volunteer crossing guard / nursemaid to the other kids. And when a kid named Billy ignores his safety advice, Jimmy takes matters into his own hands.
We know that everything possible is done to keep children safe while they're riding school buses.
Everything but
And the bus
seatbelts.
patrol members, safety is our business.
Armband? They make her wear an armband? What's your sick endgame, Safety Patrol?
Or what we do. One morning, early this winter, Jimmy was guarding his corner as usual.
Wearing his contempt like a badge, referring to his classmates as sheeple.
Strong work there, Jimmy. Really doing good stuff.
I don't need anyone to tell me what to do. That's just what you do need.
Not the last time Elliot Ness and Al Capone would clash.
Say, that gives me an idea.
Quit the lame-ass Safety Patrol?
Cap, I'm going to do just what Paul said. Lead him by the hand.
What, into a wood chipper? Let it go, Jimmy!
I have a note here from the principal that says... Billy
Did she
Jones
just learn
has
to read,
permission
too?
leave school a few minutes early today. You may leave now, Billy.
How much power does the Safety Patrol
He
have?
didn't know what it was all about.
Scary.
He reminded Billy that safety patrol members are not chosen to be bosses, but to help others.
By pulling them out of class to teach petty lessons out of spite.
At first, Billy blows Jimmy off, not caring a lick about all the common sense Jimmy tries to pound into his stupid little head. But that weekend, Billy finds a few kids even dumber than he is, and saves them using Jimmy's safety methods of all things. After saving the children, Billy surges with the awesome power that flows through every member of the Safety Patrol, and decides to become the very thing he once despised.
There's no patrol member at the corner. You've got to be extra careful about parked cars.
In fact, it's best to stay at home hiding under a couch cushion.
Good night, Mr. Safety. Okay. And I'm going to take you to school Monday, too. I'll be waiting right here.
I own you, chubby little ass, you hear me? I own it!
He just wanted to get those groceries home in a hurry so he could spend the rest of the weekend having fun.
Playing soccer while wearing a homeless lumberjack costume.
Hey, watch out!
Action, Billy.
Whoa, free ball!
Billy knew it was no joke about safety being one of the most important rules in life.
Billy went home and covered his entire family in bubble wrap.
And maybe we could talk about me joining the Safety Patrol?
Like, out of pity?
Okay. Friends, maybe we can talk about the Safety Patrol.
Bribe.
You'll find them on duty in rain or snow, sunshine or storm, proud to be doing their job.
Job sucks. I want to go home.
Picnics, hikes, and camping trips.
Safety Patrol camping trips. Many choose death
Baseball
first.
games.
While I may not be a coveted member of the Safety Patrol, I think it's safe for me to give this short a 4.5 out of 5.
Yes, that OK signal means that the patrol members are off duty.
And the
But it
bartenders
also
are
means
on.
Another job.
Number 178, Joyride from July 6th, 2012.
Man, we need a car.
They really dumbed down the pros in this film adaptation of On the Road.
In this, spoiler alert, tragic tale, we meet somewhat irritating brunette kid and very irritating and obsessed with the word hotshot blonde kid who attend the baseball game of a kid they don't like just to complain about how much they dislike him. That is, until they go off to take a look at his car and find the keys left inside. They decide to take a joyride, as the title suggests, and rope their kind of girlfriends, kind of platonic friends, it's not really clear, into their shenanigans.
Generic crowd talk, let's go.
Look at that hot shot Randall. You seen his new car? What a hot shot.
His mother died recently.
Pretty
Such
nice.
a hot shot.
Come on, let's go take a look at his car. Why do I want to take a look at his car?
Oh, he accidentally didn't say hot shot.
Want to take it for a little spin?
Ah, the shot is on the other heart now.
No,
What?
they'll be
I
back
don't know,
for another
sorry.
2 hours. He'll never even know it's gone.
You said the same thing about his sister, and we almost got caught.
Oh, right. Oh,
Oh, those crazy hillbillies from Mutant are everywhere.
They really do believe in good driving etiquette and will kill those who violate it.
So I broke your jaw.
Yep, when glass cracks, you can repair it with a good, thorough washing.
no. Let's go call up the girls.
Actual girl pictured for visual reference.
Hey, I called.
Hey guys, they're getting duded up for us.
Oh, well, great. I'll put them to work on the ranch, castrating bulls.
Oh, look, the boys got duded up for us.
They're such hot shots.
Well, if you want to sit around and be bored all day, that's fine with us.
But we're offering you the chance to be bored while sitting in a car.
Once the gang's all together, they drive their functioning stolen car to a cliff on the outskirts of town. Now, why would they do that? Why, to check out a broken, old, abandoned car, of course. And yes, I'm just as confused as you as to why these kids would give a single solitary care about this beat-up piece of junk. After their needless side quest, the boys realize they only have a few minutes to get the car back to the baseball game before it ends, and they speed toward the city. And you can probably guess what happens next. The police start chasing them, and Blondie decides to gun it. In their rush, they crash into the side of a cliff, and that's the end of the joyride.
I'm getting duded up for you.
Like the car, girl.
And now Stringy McPeasant shirt and the Joyriders.
The real message of this film is never sing with swollen adenoids.
Apply brakes to my heart.
What's down there anyway?
It's a great old car. Come on.
Let's go see it. Who wants to see a car? Come
You
on.
have a car, a stolen car. What's more exciting than that?
Blame me when you get.
Hey, that's neat.
Wow, way cooler than a car that actually runs and isn't infested with rats.
Come on, you guys. This isn't funny.
I mean, it may be European film funny, but it isn't actually funny.
In about 5 minutes, Randall's gonna find out his car's gone.
Somebody stole his car? Oh,
Don't you know you have it?
Time now for Dukes of Hazzard babies.
Oh, no.
I can't go back to prison. I've got too many enemies on the inside.
my God, did you see that kid's tank top? We gotta get that duded up menace off the streets.
We lost money.
So it's like a version of Dazed and Confused, where instead of blasting Slow Ride while they cruise to get Aerosmith tickets, they die horribly. You know, none of this would have happened if Randall hadn't been such a hotshot.
And that's the moral of our cautionary tale. If you're a hotshot like Randall, people will die.
This has always been a beloved riff to me, from the doofy kids to the ridiculous music to the top-notch jokes, and I gotta give this Joyride a 5 out of 5.
Goodbye, gray skies, hello, blue. We're gonna end up a pile of goo, screaming and crying in awful pain, leaving a trail of blood and brains.
Number 179. Love That Car, from July 17th, 2012.
About tying these good ladies into
Chauffeur
our car
here.
church.
These broads are filthy. If they've banged half the pool boys they claim to have, oh boy, really wish you could hear instead of the ooh guy you're stuck with.
It's good to give every...
Fun fact, or maybe pathetic fact about me, I don't have a driver's license. I know how to drive a car, but I haven't gotten enough practice to get a license since I have anxiety disorder and have literal panic attacks every time I'm behind the wheel. I always go home and cry afterwards, so I don't drive. And maybe that's what all these numbskulls should decide to do. Every single vignette in this short involves a doofus who forgot to get their car troubles taken care of and end up in some sort of goofy accident.
And here we have Exhibit B for Baxter, who is about to find out the hard way that something important has stopped working.
His manhood.
Now here is someone Mr. Baxter can stand up to, and maybe he will.
Women often bear the brunt of his frustration.
Whose husband, a very busy type, hasn't had the car up on a service station lift for some months.
Hence they're caught in an artillery barrage.
And she'll quickly figure out how to put on The spare.
No, aren't you the spareless one,
Telephone
Mr.
only a few
Flintstone?
miles bracing walk down the highway. And you'll have at least 15 minutes before the rain.
No, but I do love
And
suffering.
now the problem...
I regret voting for Adlai Stevenson.
And here... Ah, yes, Randolph Wright Jr. and Fred.
We'll call him Andrew.
Randy's problem by setting the idle adjustment very high with this embarrassing result.
It's the 60s.
So, in the meantime...
The short goes on much the same, with the closest thing to a storyline being introduced when a lady is taking her son's Cub Scout troop around, and the kids take the first chance at freedom and scatter as soon as she jumps out of the car to check the engine. Then the only plot to speak of is the narrator looking for the Cub Scouts while talking over more quote-unquote comedic driving clips.
But anyway, if the pack will just stay in the car quietly while... You stay in the car?
Run! The narrator sounds like a perv!
Boy, yes.
Oh, so much blood.
Madam, you haven't seen 10 Cub Scouts, have you?
What? I take a
Goodbye.
tincture for my runny ear.
It's the mature ladies.
Lady has a
because of their
Dr. Seuss
concentration
drawing on her
topics
head.
More fascinating. Proper...
He's distracted by the collective hat fabulousness.
Care right now, and our friend Mrs. Dunn may have to handle quite a situation.
Terrorists have kidnapped her elderly parents.
You just tell that garage man... Oh, it's your husband you're calling.
What's he wearing?
He ought to take his good...
This ridiculous 1960s short coasts its way to earning a 3 out of 5.
Miss, have you...
You know, guys, I'm just really feeling the urge to get some car maintenance done. This film really does work.
And you're going to realize it.
Number 180, The Hare and the Tortoise, from October 30th, 2012.
The fox had nothing to say.
Well, he did, but mostly it
guess
was
the
moon
hare's the
landing
champ to
conspiracy
the rooster.
theories, so we ignored him.
Well,
We've all grown up with the classic Aesop fable of the tortoise and the hare, but for those who haven't heard it since they were a kid, here's a quick refresher. It's a cautionary tale of arrogance when a hare brags about how quick he is and challenges all the other woodland creatures to race him. A tortoise takes him up on the offer, and the hare gets so overconfident that he takes breaks throughout the race. Finally, his cockiness catches up to him when, after falling asleep like an absolute idiot, there's knowing your strengths, and then there's just plain foolishness. The tortoise actually beats the hare, having gone slow and steady through the entire race. And in this short, we see the tale sloppily recreated with woodland animals who clearly had very little training beforehand.
out in the woods one day, a hare was bragging about how fast he could run.
Well, sir,
Fastest
it could
runner
also
in
be
the
true
woods
I
I
didn't
am.
take my
Let me tell
medication
you.
and think I can hear animals
Once
talk
I was
again.
out just practicing around. I'd dare anyone to race with me.
I'll kick your
The
ass,
goose
the
thought
Stig.
I wouldn't care to. Why, said the hare, you awkward old box on flippers.
Oh, God, he's
Never
eating
mind
his
to
head.
sniff your nose. The owl asked the fox to lay out a course for the race. Make it hard, he said.
Because when you think of foxes, you think of their ability to set up
First,
race
they'll
courses.
run along this path, thought the... Very good. Very good.
With my inside information,
Yes,
I can make a
this will
killing
do
on side
nicely.
bets.
Mouthful after mouthful of his favorite grass.
Weeping and hating himself for his own lack of
The hare
willpower.
gave great...
After the fox picks out the racetrack and the duo finishes prepping for the race, there are no real surprises to speak of. It pretty much unfolds just as the original story does. The best part of this short is easily the dark riffs about both how hopeless things are for the tortoise and just how poorly trained the animals are and how they were definitely either prodded and or chained into place for the cameraman.
Wait a minute. Get set. Go, barks the
God, I
fox.
think they actually
And they're
shot
off.
him.
The tortoise is left far behind already.
He's an embarrassment
But
to
his
all
legs are working
tortoises, which
better.
is saying a lot as they are literally
This
the
may look
worst
silly to
reptile in the
everyone
world,
else, he
next to the
thinks,
fan-throated
but
lizard.
The fox is waiting to be sure the runners stay on the course.
Yeah, he's definitely not
And here
chained to
comes
that
Mr.
stump.
Hare, but the hare is fast, slithering along over the brook and away.
Slithering?
And the poor
Brush up on
plodding
your
tortoise
animal verbs,
is
pal.
only now. He couldn't imagine that the tortoise would keep on plodding along so steadily.
His views of tortoises were
Left,
frankly pretty
right,
racist.
Left. I'm going to catch that hare, thought the tortoise, if it takes all day.
Then an eagle swooped down,
But
lofted
the
him to
fox
100
could have
feet,
picked
dropped
out
him
an
on the
easier
rocks, and
course.
ate his exposed
I'm
liver.
not built for hopping. The fox watching sleepily, tired of waiting.
A tranquilizer having been crumbled into
There's
his drinking
something,
water.
whispered the goose. Down out of his tree hurries the raccoon. Down to the ground. He finds the sleeping hare. Wake up, sleepyhead. Wake up. You're going to lose
Yes,
if you
he's
don't hurry.
waking him.
Oh, what speed. swiftly down toward the finish line.
The bleeding raccoon wound on his haunch is barely slowing him
The tortoise is
down.
already across. That the race is not always to the swift.
Sometimes it goes to a horribly scaly lump of diseased
has
flesh.
learned this lesson.
I had forgotten just how good this short is, and I've got to give it a 4 out of 5.
But I'm going to beat that high-kicking hare, he thought, if it's the last thing I do.
His heart exploded and he died well short of the finish line.
So,
As always, thank you all so much for watching, and special thanks to all of my unbelievable Patreon supporters, including Jackie Ball, Kevin Nata, Victor Cordova, and Tony G. I'm so glad to finally get a full review out again after some personal life craziness. As I mentioned, I'm going to be going on a big solo graduation vacation to Disney World next month, so the next few Google image videos will be Disney songs, and I'm also going to be shooting a Disney-themed Q&A soon. So if you have any Disney-related questions for me, make sure to send them my way. You could either leave a comment or send me a tweet or email, info for both of which are in the description as always. And of course, there will also be some Disney World vlogs coming out too. I'll also be getting back to my MST3K reviews, finally covering the last couple of episodes of Season 1, and I've got a Rifftrax live review in the works too. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later. This seems like some generic footage was taken and turned into an educational short. When a lady's taking her son's Cub Scout troop to a that is not at all what I even wrote. The best part of the short is... Dang it. Okay, I gotta restart this. And I'm obsessed with Rifftrax, Mystery Science Theater, The Muppets, and Disney enough to have a whole YouTube... Dang it, I almost had it. I was so close.